And we are live. We are here. Stacy, welcome back to 2025. How are you?
Good, good. How are you, Joanne? Did you have a good break? Good holiday?
Yes, much needed. Lovely break. Still kind of on a go slow, got to admit, but really happy to be back doing this. How about you?
Yeah. Just took some time really just to unwind and just relax, really, just to, you for those that don't know, you're actually coaching people, but you're also working on a lot of your own stuff. And it was a big year, probably one of the toughest years I've ever been through or faced in life. So yeah, it was just good to just stop and step out of it for a bit.
Mm, yeah. I found, I don't know about you, but I found, as you say, we're always working on ourselves. That's kind of what we've committed to this journey now, haven't we? And I had some massive breakthroughs. I had some massive setbacks over Christmas. Like I was dragged into this 3 days of every single old thought pattern came into my head. You're worthless, you're crap, why are you coaching people, you're a piece of crap, you know nothing. And I didn't partner with it. I just kind of removed myself and just looked at it from this third party. I just let it be there, I let it stew, I just let it do its thing. It was really interesting. But I was like, wow. I was like, I'm so grateful I have got the ability to see this for what it is.
Mm.
And I was just like, it was crazy. Did you have any craziness over Christmas or the holidays?
Yeah, I've had a bit of that coming up too, and I kind of just realized that that's just the ego. And I've just, got to that point where I realized that we never truly get rid of the ego. We just stop interacting with it. So it's going to kick up and do its thing. And sometimes you might get pulled into it, but other times you just are able to observe and be with it. And, yeah. So I had a few moments like that. When you're stepping out and you're facing all of your demons and you put yourself out on a stage to help people, it's going to bring all of your shit to the surface. That's for sure. So, yeah, I can relate to that.
But for anybody who's listening, it's like we're not here just having this easy breezy life. We're making the most of our lives, and we've learned huge lessons along the way. But sometimes it's just as tough for us as it is for you.
Yeah, it's not easy. You're undoing 30, 40, 50 years of fuckery, depending on where you started, So you got to give yourself some grace and realize that it's a process of revelation and you can only see what you're ready to see, and that's we can say we're ready to see it and to feel it and to go through it, but there's a part of you that's not, and it just sometimes it's just got to go through the process, which sometimes can be a little bit brutal, but yeah, it works out in the end. It's all working for your greater good. You just can't see the shit when you're in the storm.
Mm. So we're back here. We're talking about sacred relationships, talking about, anything that anything and everything to do with the relationships. And it's great that we've already got a question each, considering we're just new back. So do you wanna go first with your question today?
Yeah, sure. So I got a question, anonymous one. A lady wrote in and said, I've just found out my husband's cheated on me with a friend. Help, what do I do? So I'll throw that one to you. That was a banger to start the year off.
The double betrayal, isn't it?
Mm,
Double betrayal.
yeah,
What do you do? I mean, the first thing is to stop and breathe, I'd say.
yeah.
Stop and breathe and really look after yourself first and foremost, and honor that whatever comes up, what's coming up for you, is it anger, is it hurt, is it upset, is it nonchalance? Because we don't know, do we? And no feeling is abnormal, no feeling is unnecessary. It's really important to allow these feelings to come to you and to be honored, I would say, without reaction. It's the reaction where we usually, I want to word this in the correct way, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to say where we let ourselves down, because after we react, we usually regret our reactions. So I would say feel the feelings without reacting if you can, and respond instead. And what does respond mean? Respond means honoring the pause in between you feeling your feelings. You know, there's a double whammy that's happened. There's a deep betrayal from both parties. There's a lot of different emotions which will come up with that. There won't just be one. There'll probably be a million different emotions, and there will be emotional roller coaster. But when we react, whether it's in haste, anger, hurt, upset, you know, there's so many different responses that we can have. It doesn't usually make us feel good. So how do you want to respond to the situation? What do you want the outcome to be? Ask yourself these deep questions if you can at this time. And if not, just take absolute 100% self-care of yourself. You know, scream into the pillow, go out onto a mountain and scream if you have to, punch the pillow, just don't punch anybody else. You know, it's, think about what your body's asking for as well. Do you know, do you just want to curl up in a ball and cry? Because if that's what you want to do it. It's about self-honor now, because you're going to be on a bit of a journey.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's about self-honor. You know, betrayal is one of the toughest things to go through, and not only a single betrayal, but a double betrayal. And often we are caught off guard, we're blindsided, we don't see it. We can be caught up in the love effect, and it can be right there in front of us. But one of the things I've learned is that there's probably a part of you that's been betraying your own self in some way, shape, or form. And maybe it's your wound from childhood, maybe it's your wounding. There's something going on where you're betraying yourself, and this is being brought to you to reveal it. And it's a pretty brutal way to have it revealed to you. So, you know, first of all, just send a lot of love and compassion for where you're at. Like Joanne said, is just sit in it and just notice that that voice in your head will be out of control. Stay, don't stay. There could be responsibilities. There could be children involved. I don't know the full story. But one of the things I really share with my clients is, if you don't honor yourself, no matter who else is in your life, this includes your children, your partner, your friend. If we don't honor ourselves, we actually betray ourselves. And so you'll have a very deep knowing of what you would do in the situation if a friend come and asked you about the same thing. You know, what would you tell your best friend in this situation? And 99% of the time it's leave and go on your own separate way. But that's easier said than done. It's a path, it's a journey. First the grief, the shock, the heartache, the break, you know, the pain, the loss of two trusts, not just one, the loss of a friend, you know, the loss of that connection with the partner. It's pretty hard to get it back. So, you know, just go through the process. When you're ready, reach out to somebody, you know, outside of that to get some support to just work through it. But yeah, it's a tough one to work through, and you've just got to give yourself the grace and the time and allow yourself to grieve it, because it's the ultimate loss. You know, it's one of the ultimate losses, and it will feel like death. You know, these things we don't realize, but it's like a loved one dying. It's that level of grief. So, you know, the stages of grief can be pretty brutal, and it will take time no matter what decision you decide to make over time, whether to stay or whether to go. So yeah, just give yourself some grace on the journey.
And the more you can love yourself, the more gentle the journey will be. Can't say it's going to be easy, because I don't think anything's easy in life really, but it will be more gentle the more you can love on yourself, you know. And also understanding that not making a decision is making a decision. You know, you don't have to rush into any decisions now, and in fact, it's probably best not to make any decisions now, because again, that's haste, that's reaction. You know, just honor yourself as much as you possibly can. Give yourself a massive helping of self-love, a massive helping of self-care, and that's going to be the best thing you can possibly do for yourself.
Yeah, and one of the things I'd say is our conscience always knows what we want to do, and then our ego is like, but what if what if I don't get another person like that? What if I never find a love? What if I'm all alone? You know, what if? And that's the work right there is, can you honor and trust, you know, that conscience, your higher self, the authentic voice of God that's guiding you. And, you know, that's your journey to work through.
Yeah, beautiful. And like, we're sending all lots of love to you, because it's not a nice thing to happen. Absolutely not. Not a
Lots
nice
of love
thing.
there.
Oh, that was a big one to start the year off. And
Yeah.
you know what? We said before we went on Christmas break, there's a lot of things that happen in relationships and a lot of revelations that come out over the Christmas period. It's a tough time. So my question is from a lady, and she just says, how can I help my partner? Because when we have discussions, he's very defensive. So is there anything I can do to help that? Which I thought was a really beautiful question, actually, because she's not pulling him under the bus or anything. She actually wants to see how her role can be, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that's a neat question. You know, when someone's reactive, it's coming from a place of defense, and that's you always coming from wounding underneath that. But what you can do is just, you know, allow him to finish his sentences, allow him to share. You know, you can, you know, if you're unsure on something, ask the question, is this what you meant? Is this what you were asking? Or is this what you were saying? And then just communicate back clearly and keep it respectful. I think that's the one thing, you know, the number one thing men want is respect. So, you know, it's very hard when someone's reactive, but if you can, you know, if you've got this awareness around, oh yeah, there's a quite a different response here, a defending responses, you know, just do your best to be able to keep it respectful on your end. And at the end of the day, his shit is his shit. And, you know, when we're defending, we can't see the other person's point of view.
Mm.
And that's a big problem with men, because they feel like their woman's attacking them when she's not. She's just bringing to the surface something that's really going on in the relationship. But the man's not actually hearing what you're saying. It's triggering the little boy in there that's defending, you know, whatever he's trying to defend, which is himself from being, you know, exposed or abandoned or rejected or betrayed or whatever it is. So it's just, you know, once again, it's just this journey of, you know, speaking your truth from a place of composure, pausing, being respectful, holding it together, but also holding boundaries up that it's not disrespectful back your way. And at least you're communicating. That's a great start. So it's a tough one, you know, it's a tough one, because I used to be quite defensive in my relationship, because I was taking everything as a personal attack. But if I actually look at it, I was actually personally attacking myself for not showing up in those areas anyway. But someone else shining on the light on it hurt. And I didn't want to look at it and take responsibility and accountability. So I project or defend. And so, yeah, it's just the process for men to be able to go, oh shit, I am actually doing this, or I am actually doing that. But yeah, just respect and composure.
Mm. No, I love it. And I think you'll back me up, Stacey. I think when we go to our men with an issue, there might be like a little issue, something we need or something we've misunderstood, or, you know, we just want to talk about a situation. Men see it as thing like, oh my God, no matter what I do, I can't make you happy. It's that personal attack, isn't it? Oh, well, oh, I forgot. And it's straight away, as you say, it's the defensiveness, it's the not wanting to look at it. It's like, oh, it's woe me kind of thing. And I don't mean that in an awful way. It's that is the defense mechanism. So I think using words along the lines of, you know, I need to talk to you. I'm not saying you've done this, anything, but I just want to know, I want to talk to you about how I'm feeling. You know, if we, again, it's bringing it back to ourselves. I'm not blaming you for anything, but can I just talk about what happened yesterday? Because when we had this discussion, this is how I felt. I'm just wondering how you meant it. Or when you do this, this is how I feel. It might not be how you're intended to feel, but if you, and maybe suggest ways of how it can be slightly different. I think bringing it back to that kind of gentle ownership language. So you're owning it. So it doesn't have to have such a defensive response.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that?
that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing you also got to realize is that when we have conversation, we're triggering that childhood psychology. A man, like once I healed my wounds, like my wife could pretty much drop the fucking hammer on me and I don't even waver, and I've learned now that, oh, she's just sharing with me. She just needs me to hold space. It's got nothing to do with me, or she'll be sharing her frustrations of life or work or things. And I just listen. I just listen and I just hold space. And even if I feel myself, if it is something around me, I'll say, and I'm not sure, I feel myself getting worked up, I'll just say to her, look, I just need some space. Let me process this and then I can come back to you. But like Joanne said, it's just communicate the best and clearest you can that this is what you're feeling, and how the other person takes it after that is theirs to look after, because we can't control another person's outcome. And communication, something we're not taught. We're not taught as men how to communicate. That women often don't want us to fix their shit. They just want to be heard and seen. And one of the things I'll do with my wife is, if she's really worked up and she'll share all this stuff with me about life, and I'll just say to her, can I give you a hug? And I'll just give her a hug, and within a minute it's all gone. We've forgotten about what, she's not wanting me to, she's not telling me about the problem. She's telling me about how she feels.
Mm-hmm.
And for men, we don't get that. And so often you'll be telling him, really the problems are, hey, I'm not feeling seen or loved or appreciated or cared for or validated. And he's like, whoa, 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 fuck, I can't do enough. I'm never good enough. So he's responding back like defensively. So, once you can start to really soften into that on that side, he may actually meet you halfway.
And also own it as well. Does your partner understand what it is you need? Because it's a guessing game. Sometimes we think they should know what we're asking for, that we should know what we need, but unless we actually make it very crystal clear, they're just kind of bumbling around in the dark. So like I'll say to my partner, if I'm feeling really irritated and hormonal, I'm going to own it. I'm going to say, I'm feeling irritated. I actually just want you to just listen, or I just want you to say nothing, or I just want a hug. So he's got like an options of what to do. And he might go, do you want a hug? And as you said to your wife, can I give you a hug? Not right now. And he'll know just to leave me alone. But if I really want the hug, but it's how much do you understand yourself, and can you then relay that to the other person as well? Because that's a beautiful thing to do. Because I know, like, we're talking about the guy getting defensive, but sometimes these guys don't know what it is you want.
And here's another really cool thing you can try. The next time you feel the defensiveness from him, I want you to feel it in yourself, because there's a part of us that's looking for it. So if you can just sit with that trigger of it and go, actually, he hasn't actually changed much of his body language or the way he's looking or whatever, and you just sit in it and you realize, oh, that's my perception. Now, I'm not saying that's true, but sometimes there's a little bit of us that's blowing it up more. And so once we blow it up, it's like shining the magnifying glass on it. We're going to see it more and more and more. And then the more we see it, we're going to be repellent with our energy. So our words might be saying something, but our tone or our energy is saying something else. And he's getting his back up, and then it just goes back and forward. But it's a journey to be able to communicate, especially in deep, honest conversations and relationships, because we're always afraid of losing. But we're always afraid of losing our partner, our relationship being abandoned, being rejected, being whatever it is. And so we walk on these eggshells, and we've got to learn to be able to really honor ourselves and share what we need to from a space of respect, but not also disrespecting ourselves by not speaking our truth.
And I think it's a beautiful question, because obviously whoever's give us the question wants to help their partner. So, and you'll find in a relationship, and you might be ahead of the journey in one aspect of your life, and your partner might be ahead of the journey in another. There's the tables turn. So if you're ahead of the journey a little bit on the healing journey, on the communication journey, that's awesome, and it's beautiful that you want to help. But then there's obviously some growth there for you, as Stacy said, what's coming up for you. Because I know for me and my partner, I'm definitely the communicator out of the two of us. He's really learning. He's stepping up, man, and he gets better and better all the time. And I admire that. I so admire anybody who is willing to listen, because we've worked through those defense barriers. So this is very familiar territory to me. But I've also got to know that things don't happen overnight, and we still, we just talked about that earlier on the show. I got dragged back into old patterns over Christmas. I didn't partner with them, but they were there. So just because he doesn't get defensive 2 times out of 3, there still might be a time he gets defensive, and I've kind of got to go, I can't expect too much, but I will. Like, we had a conversation the other day and it was amazing. And I just said, can I just say thank you for that conversation? And he started to try and explain when he was talking. I said, no, you don't have to explain anything. I said, it was absolutely perfect. I said, it was a really tough topic we were talking about, but I really appreciate your tone of voice, how you approached it, your absolute brutal honesty. Thank you so much. Thank you. He knew he'd done it all right because he got the thumbs up and the thank yous as well. It's a whole journey for all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, and another thing you can try is just, if you see him react quite badly or defend and come at you, just take a second after he's replied and just ask him, what was it about? What was it about that what I said that's got you feeling this way or coming this way? And then he might go, oh, I feel like, I'm not being appreciated, or I feel like I'm not getting it right. I feel like, and that way you start to unpack what he's hearing versus, what you're saying. Because, the biggest thing I've learned on my journey is we're never hearing what the other person's saying. We're hearing our perception of what the other person's saying and responding to that. And once you start to work through those triggers, you're no longer reacting. You're actually just hearing the actual truth of what that person's saying.
Yeah, because there's a big thing around communication, isn't it? You can be using the most eloquent words, you can be explaining yourself in the most beautiful way, but if the comprehension isn't there from the other person, you might as well just stand there and talk to a brick wall. So that's why you've got to always remain in curiosity and have the two-way questions. And as you said, that's a great idea. If there is defense, say, what's triggered inside you, what's making you feel that way. It's a great question, because then of course you're helping him unpack that as well. I know you don't want to be a codependent relationship, but you do also want to be able to work through things together.
Yeah, and communication is the key. And what I've found in relationships working with men have shut down. So anything coming from their partner or their wife is usually perceived as an attack of some sorts. So something that's attacked, a man's going to defend it, justify it, whatever he has to do to try and shift the blame off himself. So it's just that it's a process of, working through it and communicating. At least you guys are communicating, and just try some of those things and just see and let us know how they go. Let us know, well, yeah, I use this and it actually allowed us to unpack it, because it's actually like what Joanne said. When you can communicate with someone without reacting, it's such a beautiful conversation. It's such a beautiful place to be, and it's so empowering just to be able to actually talk and share the truth, like the brutal honesty of how you're feeling or the things that are going on, and then actually be acknowledged and work through it and get the outcome that you want, or, just be seen.
Mm. And it's just making me think, this work that, the questions people are asking is so amazing. The work that we're all doing here is like we're working towards a greater consciousness. This programming that's in your man that you're asking the question about, that's not just in your man, that's in most men of mankind right now, because that's been the programming of the thousands and thousands of years that have been around. And there's programming within us women. And together, the more of us that can awaken, the more of us can do this healing work. We're going to help everybody to do their healing work as well. It's opening up this honoring space for us all to be who we're here to be, not this crappy programming and patriarchal society, which has not done any good for any men or women.
That programming runs so deep, and I'll share a little bit of this. When my wife was coming at me, my programming was I'm not loved. So my subconscious program was I'm not loved. I don't matter. I can never do enough, and I'm not safe. So the minute she came at me, I wasn't hearing, hey, this is going on and I feel like this. I was hearing, I don't matter, I'm not loved, I'm not safe. And I would shut down and defend and project and push her away and blame, because that was being triggered unconsciously. And like Joanne said, it wasn't until I was able to actually see that this went back to my childhood and grieve that process. Like the last few months for me have actually been really going into it and really being with it, allowing the pain to rip me open to actually let it go at the level that I needed to. And once I let it go, like I said, like my wife can say some stuff to me now. She can come at me with, whatever it is in the relationship. And I don't bat an eyelid, because I actually just hear, and it's no longer her sticking her finger in my wound and me going, ah. So, it's like
Yeah.
Joan said, for us to evolve and to be actually able to survive and actually catch up to the level of technology and growth, we have to evolve our consciousness. This is why we're seeing so much suffering in the world. We have primal consciousness in a world that's evolved like leap years ahead of our consciousness, and this is why we're being dragged through it. And relationships are our teachers.
Mm. Ooh. Well, they were juicy questions, and we went off on a few tangents, but we always come back, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, but like, I do believe we've been shown a poor version of love over many years. And but I truly believe, my belief, and I know this is, we are here for love and connection.
Yeah.
And so the more work we can do on ourselves, going back to the first lady, self-love, self-honor, and this is for every single person listening, self-love, self-honor, and then be able to show up vulnerably and help others do it on their healing journey, then this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to heal the world.
Yeah, that's it. Like we form our template of love from our childhood, and we're going to recreate what our parents created and what our grandparents created and what their grandparents created, just in our own little way. And what we're realizing is this isn't love. It's not, 9 times out of 10, it's not love, it's codependency or something like that. And the ultimate form of self-love is self-respect. So, we've got to dissolve these old templates of love so we can actually reveal that we've always been love. And when we don't put those walls up around our heart, we're going to attract in the right energy. And this is what we got to heal through. So beautiful, beautiful words, Joanne.
So we will be back next week at 2 p.m. live on Facebook. So send us your questions. As you can see, we're very discreet. Everything's anonymous. Be brave, send in your questions. And it can be relationships about anything, whether it's with your kids, your in-laws, your family, money, your career, because everything in life is a relationship. So keep sending them in, and we're happy to tackle them for you.
Yeah, and let us know if we haven't answered it, or you want us to go deeper, or you want some more answers, or you've had some success with some of the stuff. Drop in and let us know. It's always nice to know, or you're like, man, you didn't answer my question. Come back and ask us again. And, we're more than open to reviewing our own work and what we're suggesting to people.
Here. And also, what we're also welcome in, if you are brave enough to join us here in the hot seat and have a hot seat coaching and have your questions answered live, come on board. See who's going to be the first person to do that, shall we?
That'll be a brave person, yeah. But one of the things I just want to share before we drop off is, when we start to expose ourselves for the truth of what's going on in our lives, no one can expose us. That's actually our greatest fear, is what people's judgment of us will be. And as soon as you actually just go, I don't give a fuck anymore. This is the truth of what's going on, and I'm going to jump on and ask the question. It could be with your romantic, your marriage, your children, your finances, whatever. Once we actually start shining the light on the truth, there's nothing for us to hide. And when there's nothing for us to hide, there's nothing for us to fear.
I love that. Love it. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Jane.
So guys, until next week, we will see you next week.